And now for something completely related.
Special Enforcement Zones, 4118. These are measures that are used by the city and the police as NIMBYs to displace the unhoused community. They use it at the opportune time of early morning and to displace the unhoused community under 10 minutes to place all their belongings in a garbage bag. You're not allowed to get anything else after that 10 minutes. Your mission at We the Unhoused, if you choose to accept it, is to use a 60-gallon bag. Put your belongings in, or your family member's belongings in under 10 minutes, and they'll show this on TikTok and with the contents of it out of the bag.
Good afternoon, this is Theo Henderson from We the Unhoused.
Today is a momentous event. I've been speaking about it a little bit, as well as giving you a sneak peek of what the Unhoused, We the Unhoused is all about. We the Unhoused is about agency and empowering the unhoused community to make people realize that we have a voice. Today that voice is going to be much louder due to this tumultuous election cycle that we have. And today in Echo Park from 12 to 3, we have a mock ballot, and we have unhoused speakers talking their experiences about houselessness and the necessity for us to speak up and to create a voting bloc in order for our voices to be heard. Too often, we're ignored, we're dismissed, we're told we're not citizens, we're told we don't have a voice because we don't have a house, and we're told that we should just shut up because we don't have a job. Well, today is the day where we come to tell you that that is not so. We have the right to vote, we have the right to create propositions, and we have the right to move and end some of the harmful legislation that has been enacted against poor people, unhoused, housing insecure, job insecure, all around. So stay tuned. This is a very exciting event. I'm excited, and I welcome you to get a peek, a glimpse into our world and how we're going to start this from this place and around the country as well as the city. So this is what the game plan is. We have like at least 3 to 5 minutes. You don't have to take the whole time if you don't. But what we want to do is to stay on message. I cannot emphasize this enough. We're talking about voters' education, our experiences of being unhoused with police harassment, how long we've been out here, things to motivate and to get other unhoused people to have a say in how we can control the narrative instead of the narrative controlling us. So that's the key. I appreciate you guys coming here. Anyway, you guys got any questions? Anything else? Okay. I'm so excited because each of you I've watched and listened to. You guys seem dynamic. You guys got your message, and I think people are going to be moved and really motivated to once they hear you guys speak. That's what my confidence is. And I thank you all because you guys could be doing things on Saturday too. So, but thank you for showing up.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now here's the thing. I'm going to introduce one of a fiery speaker, and I want you guys to get pumped and excited to be here. And I want you to give him and show him the proper love we do in LA. This is a person that has been a long soldier, that has been in the fight for equality and civil rights and unhoused rights way before, maybe before I was born, but we won't talk about story. But the issue is, I would love to tell you this guy has a testimony and a story in itself. But what he is constantly doing, even on a busy time, he is gracious enough to stop by and to introduce and to get you guys amped up for what's to come. Without further ado, General Dogon, please.
All power to the people. The police. That's right. So I think I want to thank FPO for creating this event. Some of the folks, DSA, Jeb, other folks. Thanks everybody for coming out here as well. My name is General Dogon. I'm a human rights organizer with LA Can. We've been working on GOTV. We think this election right here is very important. When you look at the ballot, you look at what's on there, right? You clearly have to say that this is a people's election, right? This November. And the reason why I say this is the people's election, because when you look at what's on the ballot, you see that these are issues that we've been working on for the last 50 years, right? Like rent control, right? Is the rent too damn high? Yeah, damn right, the rent is too damn high. Higher than the Empire State Building around here, right? And so issues like that. Also, when you look at Proposition 25, bail reform, right? Bail reform has been problems in the black and brown community since they had bail, right? Because the problem with that is none of us can ever afford the bail, right? And when we do afford it, that means our mama done gave up her house and stuff like that, right? Finna lose everything if we take the wrong step the wrong way, right? And so those are some issues that's very important for us. So it's important that we come out here, right, and learn how to vote, what to vote on. because I seen some of these commercials. You've seen some of these commercials that they got going on right now. It's a damn shame, ain't it? Ain't no way in hell you supposed to be up there lying like that. You know you lying. You know you lying. Like Prop 21. Is they lying? Is they lying? You seen them commercials? Why are they lying? Right? And the cold part about it is they so selfish and inconsiderate, they don't give a damn about us. Right? Because they put people up there that's blind, crippled, you know, understand me, to lie. You hear people up there talking about, I'm gonna die if you don't vote this way. Right? You hear people up there, you see people, I see this one woman, you see her, she ain't even got no arms, right? Paralegic, she talking with her mouth. Right? The other side don't give a damn. They'll do anything to lie to you and trick you out of your vote, right? You think you vote for somebody and you end up voting who? Nobody, right? I think Malcolm X said it best 50 years ago. For us black folks, our vote has always been a swing vote. We decide who go to the big house and who go to the dog house, right? So they gonna always come in our community with some deception. Right, they gonna always try to mislead us on the vote, right? Well, we gonna end up voting for the enemy, right? For example, is Measure J. Measure J is a good example of that, right? Bail reform. Excuse me, Prop 25. Prop 25. Excuse me. Prop 25, right? Bail reform is a good example of that. Because they know damn well we need bail reform and we need to bail our community, right? But they want to get it right now to where they put it in the hands of the judges and the judge do a risk assessment to determine if you get out. Ain't that the same shit that it was already was? That's the same thing. Only thing they doing is just gift wrapping it up and serving it to us a different way. Right? Thinking when you getting something, you ain't end up getting nothing. Because when you unwrap the package, you got some big criminalization coming at your ass. They gonna put them handcuffs right back on you. So how you thought you going home? Huh? Get your black ass back in that cell. Right? And so, anytime we in our community, you know what I'm saying, black and brown folks, is dependent on the judge to get out, we screwed. I'm gonna let you know that right now, you're you know what I mean? Don't put too much faith in getting out, you know, right? Because it ain't gonna happen. Right? And so Prop 25 is one of those propositions that mislead us because it makes you think that they're going to reform the bail system, but actually all they're doing is making it worse for you to get out, right? By doing this risk assessment and all that stuff, right? Because I know damn well with my record, I'm done deal, done dollar, buddy. You might as well go sit down, right? It'd be just like this, they say letting Al Capone or somebody out. And so that's the reason why I come in. That's the reason why I come. It's important to be out here and let's talk about what's going on in the valley, what's going on the other side, and let's get down about what's going on, especially when we're talking about homeless people, right? And it's important for us to know what's on the valley, right? And how we gonna do it. And so, what we gonna do about Top 21? What's wrong with your microphone?
Yeah, need another mic. Need another mic.
Okay. Just need to press down the whole thing. So, you know, just like I said, I want to invite one of my comrades up. The comrades want to come. No, I got one. It's good. It's good. So, a comrade want to come up and want to say a couple of words. Huh? Theo. Come back up and say a couple of words. But I just want to hear folks and let folks know that doing this election right here is very important for us to get out, you know, understand me, and go and vote. You know, especially with this crazy ass Donald Trump. You know, let's see there, he gotta go. Everybody say Trump. So we gotta get his ass out and we gotta vote the right way. Prop 21, we need that damn we need to keep people housed, right? We need to reform the bail system, but this ain't the valley that's gonna do it. Right? We gotta make another one to do it. And it's important for us to stay in the street too while I'm out here. I'm gonna say that too. You know, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, us getting justice and getting what we're supposed to be doing, that only gonna come as a result of us staying in the street, right? And when we get out the streets, that's when everything gonna go. In election time, these politicians gonna come, that's the only time they wanna come in our community, they wanna talk to us, they don't work for us, you know? And so we're going to have to create our own shit. Right? The only way else to do it is to stay in the street and take all power to the people.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? As I said before, General Dogan is always a dynamic speaker. We have an we have a sprinkling of many of the majority of our speakers are unhoused. And I've invited unhoused people here from all stretches because houselessness doesn't just begin and end in one area. We all have the same experiences of police harassment. We all have the same experiences of criminalization because the ordinance that goes on here, it can go on down in Chinatown. It can go on down in the valley. And I want us as an unhoused community to understand that we are each other's brothers and sisters, and we should be speaking about injustices anywhere. Dr. King says an injustice one place is an injustice everywhere. So it's not a territorial kind of situation that I want to understand. The second thing is I want to address is, and among some of the housed and unhoused community, is the fact that they say your vote don't matter. Your voice don't matter. And my response always has been, you may think that, but let me tell you what those ones that call the police on. They know their vote matters because they vote to get those things attacked. So if they can get propositions and all kind of ordinances and things passed, so can we. We are American citizens, we're constituents, and we have a voice, and we are going to start from this point forward to start to make sure that that happens. There's a next speaker here that has an excellent story. He was a Yale graduate. He has currently right now is housed, but he has a lived experience of what houselessness is like. And I would like him to tell his story better than I could. Without further ado, Mr. Shawn Pleasants.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for everyone for showing up to give me this opportunity to speak. I have a message of gratitude, a message of hope. Over a year ago, at this time, I was living in a tarp, not a tent, just a tarp, on the street. I had been there for about a little more than 10 years. And I learned one thing in that time, which is that you can't do it yourself. You have to have people to help you. And for me, all the services that were provided by different organizations, by different people, were there because somebody voted. Somebody voted for these different services to be empowered. And that's what helped me get my life back together. And now I've been housed for since July 1st. And let me tell you, it was a long, rough journey. And I'd like to say a couple of thank yous to people from Koreatown for All, the folks over at the Coalition, Paulette Benz, the people over at Homeless Healthcare, and some personal friends, Kim Hirschman and Brian Williams from the Urban League. It takes a village, it really does. And this is why I'm going to make sure I vote for certain, because I vote so that you may hear my voice. I vote to end injustice. I vote to be represented. I vote for what I need. I vote to honor those who died so that I could vote. I vote to change my world for the better. And I vote because there's an economic recession, racial oppression, voter suppression, and presidential election. Please vote.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Mr. Pleasants. Hopefully everyone can hear me. I have to say that's very true. One thing we all have in common, whether we're housed or unhoused, is that balance. The second thing that we have that I like to tie into it is people that have mom and pop stores like in Chinatown where I stayed in the park. These people have the same struggles in some different respects, but they have one thing that they also have looming on in their horizon, that they may be evicted. And when the eviction comes, there's houselessness. And there is no stimulus except one out of this whole year of $1,200. Do you think $1,200 is going to be able to cover the living expenses for 12 months out of the year? It's ridiculous. So this fight is everybody's fight, from housed insecure, from the mom and pop businesses, from the unhoused community, and we all must do something about it. There is a gentleman that I interviewed, and he has always had some insightful information and ideas. And I would like to introduce him. I met him out in the Hollywood area and interviewed him a few times. Without further ado, Mr. Hal.
Hello everybody, my name's Hal. I recently was accepted into Project Room Key as a result of direct action taken by Ground Game LA, K-Town for All, DSA LA, Street Watch LA. And as a result of that action, I was put in front of the right cameras and microphones to get LAists' attention. LAist put out a very informative article about my story, and within 24 hours I had an exception to Project Room Key. That's supposed to be a direct avenue for permanent sustainable housing. And again, these things are all a result of direct actions and votings by citizens and constituents. Your unhoused neighbors are just that, neighbors. We are parts of your community. Very few of us intend harm in any way. And when harm happens, it's usually instigated by someone else. If we stop voting, that's not gonna mean anybody else stops voting. Our entire elections system and voting system may be a sham, but if we exercise it, at least the data exists that there was opposition. Please vote. Just because you don't have an address doesn't mean your constitutional rights evaporate. This document written by slave owners 300 years ago may not be the best way to run things, but it's what we've got to work with and on right now. And if you don't exercise it, it's going to continue to be trampled on and nothing is ever going to change. It may not even change with voting, and there may actually need to be a revolution. But before that happens, if the data exists, then there's reason for the revolution to happen. And the data exists to prove it. Please exercise your civic duty. Without it, we're all doomed. What they do to the least of us, they will do to all of us.
Thank you, Hal. And like I say, Hal has a story. If you want to find out more about him, he has an article in LAist, the We Unhoused podcast, which is on Pandora, SoundCloud, Patreon. Like I say, I have to do my little plug in. The next person I wanted to get is Mr. Michael. Actually, I thought I didn't see her. Ladonna. Ladonna, there she is. She so eagerly she was trying to run away, but I have to bring her up. So Ladonna has a story, and I would love to have her tell her story. Please.
Hello. First of all, give it up for the shoes. The sequin. The pride. Like I was saying, like I have to deal with the sweeps, and they can't even get to the radius that they're trying to cover. So it's like every week you don't know if it's gonna be your street when they say that they're coming every week. So like it's like a mind trick. So like last week, everybody moved their stuff because we just knew we were gonna get hit, and we did. And then this week we got hit. But like as a direct like result of that just leaves us so vulnerable, like out in the public. It does, because like some of the other homeless people, they're unsavory characters, so now they see everything you got, because you have to take it out of your tents and everything. They see everything you got. Other people see everything you got. You gotta leave it all out there. You either stay out there in the hot sun, or you know, you go to the store to go get something, come back, gone. You know what I mean? Every week they're trying to do that to us. Yes, vote, but I mean, there has to be something else. Like before that we need to get to. Because it's like I live literally like 2 steps away from the Salvation Army shelter. Not once has a staff member came out. Would you like some water? No? Here's a plate, some extra plate of food. No? Never once. Not a hi, not a nothing. I don't even know who the staff is there. And if you look at it, it's a prison. It's a cubicle. Sale. Like, that's not lucrative to me. Like, I don't, like, I make my tip bigger than the cubicle that they're trying to give me. I got an 85-pound pit bull. The are we gonna do in there? You know what I mean? And then they can't have it at full capacity because of the virus. So these things are ending and all this other stuff, but the virus quarantine is still in effect. Where are all these people going? They're coming home to the street. Where are all these people going? Because all the well, I know in the valley there's no place to place us. They're gonna send me to Long Beach. Well, god damn it. I don't wanna go to Long Beach. Long Beach. I don't wanna live in LA. I don't wanna go to downtown. I wanna stay in the valley. They don't have a place for me. Like, it's all like, but before I get to do that, I have to live in a prison. I'm not illegal. I'm a square from Delaware, ex-vet. Why would I have to live in those rich homes? Have you seen that? IKEA painted a prison. Not going there. Not. I mean, we need to start to talk of the stuff before that. You know what I mean? That's what we need. Because
and not only that,
I don't want to get out of my situation because I'm not going to go live in a prison. You know, let's go to rich homes. You know, I lived at homes. I'm 35 years old. I lived in homes all my life. No home ever looked like those rich homes, but Linwood does. Linwood looks like Linwood. I got a curfew. It's like I'm back in a group home. I spent my last 10 years in Castaway. That's a level 12 shut down group home. I was at McLaren Hall.
that's one thing.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm a grown person. I should be able to come in and out. I'm not on probation. I'm not on parole. Like, why do I have a curfew? Like, why are you treating me like a group home kid?
Like a second-class citizen.
Yeah. Like, just for not being able to afford a high-ass rent in motherfucking California. Like, nah. There has to be some kind of talk about, you know, like, and even the guy, the architect that built it, I was talking to him, I'm like, oh, what do you usually build? I bet it's prisons. He's like, well, I built a house. No, he builds prisons. That's what he did. And if you look at it, it's just Martha Stewart painted it. That's all it is. It's a nice color scheme, but it's cubicles. And everybody in there, like, they're not really getting help. They're not. And they took away all their food in there. They're saying that the 3 meals that they provide is sufficient enough, but what if you're busy? What if you have something to do? You know, what if I'm diabetic? Like, what if my sugar's low? You know what I mean? The drug addicts in there, they need it. You know, I 3 times a week, the ambulance is at that place. They're not, before that place was there, it was not like that. 3 times a week. And that project room key, I could never go there. Like 18 people died in the hotel. I'm good. Nope. All of it sounds bad. Like, all of it sounds bad. Like, everything, like they halfway do it. There's no oversight. There's no follow through. It sucks. The whole thing sucks. So now I don't want to get into some program where I have to, you know, come in at 11 o'clock, explain. No, I'm a grown person. Not going to do it. That doesn't seem, you know, enticing.
Oh, yes. We spoke this morning, right? Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think, like, they're missing the communication between actual life and the law.
Yeah, they're giving speeches now.
So, that's about it. Thank you. Like I said, I pity the fool.
I think this is very clear that we're going to need a better mic system, and I have been thinking now, if you guys want to support We Unhoused and this kind of thing, please put some money toward us getting a better mic system, because I want us all to hear our messages, because it's important. One of the things I want also to talk about is that they are unhoused people from all over Los Angeles County. Houselessness doesn't begin and end in Echo Park. It's in Skid Row, it's in Hollywood, it's in the Valley, it's all over the country. So without further ado, this gentleman here is from Echo Park. He's one of the primary voices when we have direct actions that we've had in the past 3 years. He's been one of the forefronts. He's been featured on the public radio show, on the news. Without further ado, Mr. Ayman, Ahmed. People can't hear you.
How y'all doing?
Perfect.
I think that was a good place to transition because a lot of what she said was facts, you know. Voting is all good, but there's something before we have to do before we vote. There's something that's missing. If you live outside the courthouse or if you live outside the Salvation Army, but you don't even know who's working in it, or they can't even come out and give you some food, there's something wrong with the system, right? It just becomes another like agency or corporation or something like that. And that's why this is so beautiful. I mean, look around, you see tents, you see unhoused people, but then you see housed people. You see all brackets of the economy here together, because ultimately that's what we are, a society of people. And I think that's the part we really need to focus on first. You know, homelessness exists out here in Echo, it exists out here in Skid Row, it exists out in everywhere, 70,000 people outside. But when you label it and you give it a statistical number, you take away from that humanity in front of you. I'm no different than your average 25 or 26-year-old. I work out every day, I'm just trying to live my life. So it's that connection we can make with each other that brings a realness to what's going on here. So this is really beautiful. Thank you all for coming out. And yeah, you know, sort of put on the spot, but I guess I want to talk about too the, amidst all the harassment we face out here in Echo Park, the police harassment, the city harassment, people telling us not to be in their backyard, but where else are we going to go? We've still had 7 people get apartments and hotels. We've still had people move on. So our goal here isn't to live here perpetually, it's just we have nowhere else to go. And it's a beautiful thing when your neighbors realize that as well and work with you rather than work against you. You know, this is the kind of thing that needs to continue happening all over, not just in Echo Park. We need to take the system here, we need to spread it. We need to get housed folks doing stuff with unhoused folks and together showing the city what that actually looks like. You know, on the bracket or on the ticket, I think it writes Trump and Biden, and I'm not following the politics too much, but I heard Biden was going to put Mayor Garcetti on his ticket to take over the unhoused issue in America. That's crazy because Mayor Garcetti took our showers, and we had to build our own showers because we had nowhere else to shower. You know, when the lady was talking about how during COVID they cut funding on the shelters and there was nowhere to go, that's a fact. So if you cut funding on us and then you give it funding and then you cut funding and then you give it funding, you're taking away our agency. You're taking away our right to just walk this life the way we want to walk it. So you took my hygiene from me, you took my ability to go somewhere to live, and then now, because it's voting season, all of my answers are supposed to come through you, the system and agency that took everything through me? Nah, I don't think so. All of the answers come through this, through grassroots organizing and through people in the community and houses getting together, sharing a common vision of love and unity, and just coming up with projects, right? Just simple projects to do together, art shows to do together, right? To highlight the voices and talents. So, thank y'all for coming out, I guess. That's a good place to end it, yeah. Services. Services.
Not sweet.
Services.
Not sweet.
Services.
Not sweet.
Services.
Not sweet.
All right, thank y'all.
Good evening. This is Theo Henderson from We the Unhoused, and this is Unhoused News. 1,000 unhoused Angelenos have died in this year alone, 2020. Closely related to the subject is the Los Angeles City Council's response to this tragedy is to create special enforcement zones and enforce them, as well as expand on special enforcement zones. 9 City Council members have voted to resume the care sweeps, which displaces unhoused community members from locations near bridges, overpasses, parks, and City Hall. Many residents have spoken out against the brutality along with the activists, but the city has resumed a very tone-deaf response and a very aggressive response. In response to the defund the police protest, the police have answered by acquiring 9,000 more police officers to help with the defunding the police zone, as well as enforcing the special enforcement zones, as well as displacing the unhoused with the enhancement of the care sweeps. Tragedy has unfolded in San Clemente, California. A 42-year-old unhoused man by the name of Kurt Andreas Reinhold, a father of 2, was shot to death by San Clemente police officers over a jaywalking dispute. Media outlets have expressed a tone deafness and a hostility to the unhoused community. Media outlets have been taken to task recently by other news publications that point out that there are certain journalists that have connected and have been in support of NIMBY ideas, for example, forced hospitalization of the mentally ill community, of the unhoused community. And one of those people that they stated was Los Angeles Times' Steve Lopez. Lastly, the weather has caused many concern, as well as COVID-19 has caused concern for the unhoused community in going to shelters. Many of the unhoused have expressed concern due to the fact that they have a medical history that precludes or make them susceptible to COVID-19. The second issue is that in the past, most shelters in the winter, the winter shelters, were densely populated, which would be a breeding ground, a petri dish, if you will, for unhoused to catch the COVID-19. Case in point, earlier this year, the Union Rescue Mission had over 100 people that had COVID-19 in the rescue mission. I'm Theo Henderson from We the Unhoused, and this is Unhoused News.
So we're going to bring Theo up here in a second to talk about something that he's come up with, a vote on real issues. If you're staying in this park, if you're staying on the streets, there's a ballot over here, Theo will run it down, but these ideas are going to help build programs from this brother. I'm sorry, I'm giving half of your pitch.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, go ahead with it.
No, hell no. So no, we just wanted to come up here and say thank you again. Everybody's so amazing. But let's get a hype, Theo. What'd you say? Let's start it out. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Eric Garcetti. Eric Garcetti. Now let's try one of you. Might be hard for you. Kamala Harris. And Joe Biden. So why the will we vote for these assholes? Because when you're voting, nobody is going to represent you. That's real. None of these people give a about us unless Ashley gets elected or something. The only thing that you do when you're voting is you choose your opposition. Who is weaker, Trump or Biden? I'm going to go with Biden. But at the same time, we can never forget that Kamala Harris never prosecuted any of the 600 pigs or 600 people that were killed, the pigs that murdered them, did she? But she could have, as Secretary of State. Didn't even pull the case. Joe Biden created the current prison industrial complex. At the
the same time, we should remember that. But who is an easier adversary? But for real, we want to talk about local shit. We want to talk about Bitch O'Farrell. Bitch O'Farrell. Try that again, Jay. Give me a loud one. Bitch O'Farrell. Bitch O'Farrell. And that's where you have power, at least in the representative part. I'll give you an example. O'Farrell barely won last time. Give you another one. Marquise Harris Dawson, who's f***ing up South LA, won by 2,000 votes. That could be us. We could put Nithya in there, put Ashley in there. But the only actual democracy you have is these props, like Dogon was talking about. Measure J brings $1 billion that the pigs can't touch. That's right. We need that to pass. Prop 21 brings rent control after it's been stolen from us by these goddamn landlord associations at the state level. And Prop 25 is a gut and amend of 10 years of our work. Prop 25. Prop 25. So this is your power through the ballot. Yeah. The only thing we're running is here. Ayman is exactly right. But we can affect there. We can choose who we hit. We can choose how we hit them, and we can play the conditions and be smart about it. So you can definitely register to vote over here. If not, vote for Gloria Yariva. She's dope. So I'm going to hand this over to Theo. And this is a beautiful thing. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam, for uplifting us. This vote, I wanted to create this idea for the unhoused to see. This marked ballot is a beginning step toward us to create our own sense of agency, our own power. So there are unhoused people that are listening, that have been passing by, that I opened it right now to the marked ballot here. It's not many questions, but the questions are germane to you. And for the listeners out here, we have based the questions on their experience. For example, many that here are housed have no experience of getting kicked in the door at 6 o'clock in the morning and having a garbage bag handed to them and told within 10 minutes to put all your belongings in. But our unhoused neighbors do. The second thing, we also have, they're called special enforcement zones. Let's say, for example, they decide to do a bridge shelter and they want to house only 30 or 45 people. The rest of the 6,000 unhoused people that happen to live near that shelter will be criminalized and swept away. So where do they go? Because all 15 districts are riling up to create special enforcement zones. Judge Carter is also asking for the people to get priority shelters from the bridges and overpasses. But the city, in its own slickery and trickery, is using that to push back on 4118. Many housed people don't know what 4118 is. But as an unhoused person, I can tell you, 4118 makes it against the law for you to sit, lie, or rest anywhere near a park, a school, anywhere where they could be able to enforce that law arbitrarily. But here's the thing, over 60 unhoused people, 1,000 unhoused people, there are people with families. That law applies to them too. So let's say, for example, that it's been selectively enforced and you have your children here and someone doesn't like your child or doesn't like you, they can call the police and target you because you're unhoused and make sure that that law is arbitrarily enforced. So let's be even more clearer about it. Let's not disguise the fact that the police loves to arbitrarily enforce the law on certain select people. Unhoused black and brown people are highly criminalized than other unhoused ethnic races or races in general. So let's not misinterpret that. All it takes is a gentrifier or a business improvement district employee to see unhoused people trying to survive or panhandle or whatever it is to make sure that their lives are at least tolerable from day to day, to take pictures, to rile up the sensibilities and fears of voting housed people, that when we keep saying that voting doesn't matter, voting housed people have the power to make your life, whether you believe voting is not going to work or not, to criminalize you, put you in jail, beat you, and kill you. And this is the time where we need to look at, why can't we create propositions? What does it take? It's like there's over 60,000 unhoused people. We could put a petition together. We all know the story. We already know the drill. We can put something on the ballot, and we know if we get us registered, we can effect change. The civil rights era, one thing it taught me from my parents is that it's got to start somewhere. When the first part of the civil rights happened, there wasn't an overwhelming groundswell of black people wanting to vote in Mississippi. That was their lives in jeopardy. They were targeted by the police, like people were saying. We're targeted. Okay, yeah. You don't know what it's like to get kicked in and be lynched. They did do it. They had to make a stand, and it is time for us, as the unhoused community, is to say, you know what, we are going to take the stand. And one of the ways to take the stand is to start with the mock ballot, to put the city on notice and says our voice matters. Our voice and our vote will dictate if you stay in that damn office or we get you out. All right, so let's get this started. Let me go. Do you have a ballot? Man. I will start again. I will start the first vote. Yes.
Hand them out?
Oh, actually, I want to be speaking what it is first, and then I'm going to vote, and then I'll hand it out.
Okay. Okay. Do you want us to help you hand it out?
Yes, please.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
I'll take some too.
Here's the ballot. Here's the ballot. The right to access 24-hour restrooms provided and maintained by the city. Are you for it or against it? The right to maintain your belongings and possessions, no matter how many gallons, regardless of housing status. For or against? The right to not subject yourself to fines, fees, and arrest based on your housing status or income status. For or against? The right to be free from police harassment for having your tent up and shelter up in 24-hour or hot days or cold days. For or against? The right to autonomy and choice in being offered safe, supportive housing. Supportive housing options that are not congregate shelters, including hotels, cars, shared housing, regardless of perceived vulnerability status. For or against? And that is where my first vote will be to start. And we're going to have my friends to pass it out to the unhoused community. It is not always located here. They're all over here. We can pass out the ballot and encourage them to make that step. I voted. I don't have a sticker, but this is the part of the voting that is very most important than any election that is being held right now. That I voted for the opportunity to speak my truth and to the community that needs to hear it the most. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, Hal, I gave an art gallery out there in the valley. I went out there, I interviewed him as well as Brandy, and she talked about her experiences. So here in this event, without further ado, Miss Brandy.
Yeah.
First off, I'd like to thank you all for giving me the privilege of speaking on behalf of the unhoused community today. I'm so happy with the progress that we have made and so excited for the journey that's ahead of us. It makes my heart smile to see the amazing collaboration between the housed and unhoused communities. The progress that we as a whole have made is truly amazing. The love that we have received and continue to receive from several organizations is so incredibly uplifting and heartfelt. It's truly an honor to see the many generations of ignorance and hatred and misunderstanding be totally reversed and turned into positivity. My hope is that the upcoming election will also set the standard and bring positive changes for the unhoused community. Maybe people will actually start to give us a chance, landlords, lawmakers, employers, instead of immediately turning up their noses. But nothing will change if we are silent. Our voices are important. Who better to speak on our situation than us, the unhoused? We are currently a part of history in the making, and I am blessed to be here to witness this with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. That was very on time. I have to say, I can't say anything more than that. Like I said, please, if there is, I had one more person I wanted to speak to recognize. I want to take some time to do some housekeeping. I didn't do this alone, and I want to thank some people that are out here in the sun on a hot Saturday, and they are doing, we'll start over onto the side over there. Let's go and wave at the guys over at Polo Pantry. Let's wave over at the gentleman there that's running for mayor, Mr. Alvarado, City Council. Let's go over and wave at the people over in Power Up. Hey! There are hiking kits that the organization over there, the name escapes me, I apologize, that's next to the Future Left, that gives out hygiene products for the unhoused. For housed people don't realize when they see them, people are doing sponge baths and things like that. Unhoused people want to smell well too. They don't want to be a nuisance bodily odorly, if that's such a word. So they use those opportunities as they can. But if you shut the bathrooms down, or if you refuse to open bathrooms and you see someone going to the bathroom in the street, that is your fault because they're a human being. Because you become unhoused, you don't mean you have to go. You go to the bathroom up into the clouds. It has to go somewhere. And the human bodily function is a constant in all of us. So here is we have all of that, as well as the other people that I wanted to highlight is Los Angeles Community Action Network, Adam Rice, General Dogon, K-Town for All, one of the co-founders, Jane Wynn. You see her running around. There's another one that's running around is Ashley Bennett, over at the ballots. As well as some other my friends over there, I forgot their name. But I know one, Rachel. Hello, Rachel. She's with Street Watch. There's this gentleman over here with his dog, Jed Perriott. He has been a tireless activist that has saw a situation and saw a need, and he steps in despite all of the withering criticism. He is steadfast, and he is consistent in the message of creating humanity for the unhoused. He has been a watchful organizer and a watchful protector of Echo Park when injustice occurred here multiple times. So without further ado, Jed Perriott. Yes. Yeah, see, he's shy. He doesn't want to say. But, yes, what a good with a few words.
Oh, wow.
Well, you didn't hear the intro.
Thank you, Theo. It's an honor to speak here. I just also want to give another shout out to all the speakers, folks who have come here from all over the city to talk about what the city is doing to its people on a day-to-day basis, the oppression, the violence that we're all fighting against and coming together here at this park to speak out against. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone who's here. This fight continues after today. So if you're not already part of an organization, join one. Join Street Watch LA, join K-Town for All, join the LA Tenants Union, LA Can, Ground Game. Yeah, I mean, all the stuff's online. No Olympics LA. So join an organization. Keep looking out for events. General Dogon, by the way, I don't know if he mentioned it, but he's got a Street Watch / Community Watch training this Thursday at 2 o'clock. It's going to be a Zoom call, a 2-hour Zoom call about how to monitor sweeps, do cop watch, organize direct actions, bring this fight, take it to the city, go on the offense instead of playing defense all the time and reacting to shit. Because I don't know if it was mentioned earlier too, but the city is going to be ramping up sweeps again of encampments. Joe Buscaino who runs San Pedro, the ex-cop, always a cop, Joe Buscaino, Kate Buscaino, just put forward a motion to restart Care Plus comprehensive sweeps around the city. And he's trying to co-opt, they're trying to co-opt our work and our language. LA Can has been fighting for mobile showers for decades, for Skid Row and across the city. And finally, when the Services Not Sweeps Coalition came together, we pressured and forced Eric Garcetti to start bringing mobile showers to homeless encampments. We're the reason why there are mobile showers right now that say Care Plus on them. Those are showers that are due to our pressure and our organizing. And Joe Buscaino is trying to say that the resumption of these sweeps is to bring the showers that the city has put together. He's trying to say, oh yeah, those great showers that we came up with, we want to bring those back. And so all of you who are saying you're against sweeps, oh, you're against showers. That's what you're saying. You're against hygiene. And it's like, we got to remind them, no, we're the reason why you even brought showers here, and you don't have enough of them. Yes. Nearly enough, and y'all are trying to still displace people and throw out their lives in garbage trucks. And displace them, put them into darker corners, use enforcement zones. This other concept the city's trying to push forward around their shelters, the bridge enforcement zones, is going to be expanded to other areas. The city is going to try to evict people from underpasses. Starting at the end of this month in the San Fernando Valley, in Bob Blumenfield's district, there is an eviction notice right now at an underpass that says by October 27th, you all have to either take a shelter bed or get the fuck out of here. And the cops are going to arrest you if you don't get out of here, 500 feet of this underpass. And that's a preview of things to come across the city. They are going to try and redline certain areas of the city, which will eventually become most of the city before we know it, as enforcement criminalization zones. We have to fight that. We have to fight that. And again, a first step is joining General Dogon's Community Watch training on Thursday, October 22nd, a Zoom call from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. We will, if you follow all of us on social media, K-Town for All, Services Not Sweeps, we'll be promoting that. Please join that call for next steps. And I'm sure Theo's going to be doing more events like this in other parts of the city, right? And we'll have a better sound system next time. I take the fall for that. That speaker over there was really loud the other day, and for some reason today it's not. So
it's on strike.
Thank you all for consolidating and coming together around this megaphone. And all power to the people, always. Services, not sweeps. Services! 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 Not sweeps. Homes, not zones! 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 Homes, not zones!
Thank you, Jed. I always have looked forward to him bringing up new insightful information for all of us to understand that if you want to be involved or get involved or invite friends to get involved, because this is unfortunately one of many battles that we must fight in the 21st century. In 2020, we have to fight for the right of the injustice of the vulnerable. If we do not, we can be next. If we do not, and the pandemic rears its ugly head even higher, we will be next. So and I sound like Joe Clark, but the point of it is that we are not silent. We are not ignored. We cannot be ignored anymore. And it is our time to step up to the mantle and to make sure that the country and the world knows that we're here, we're unhoused. It's not a crime to be unhoused, and we're here in order for us. We're part of the human race, and we're here to stay. That's right. So I want to thank everyone I don't want to keep you any longer. I think I've got everyone that I needed to have spoken. I want to invite you guys to mill around, look at some of the lovely things that are set up in place. I'm going to be milling around myself, and I want you to do me one quick last favor. I want you to close out one of my episodes of We Unhoused. I'm Theo Henderson, host and creator of We Unhoused. I thank you for listening, and may we meet again.
America! Life on the